This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 23rd day of March in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Pandemonium broke out at a Houston secondary school this afternoon when a female teacher armed herself with a cutlass following an attack by a parent and a student of the school. The teacher, Kilmone Gentle, who has been teaching at the school for several years, said she was forced to defend herself. Both the teacher and the parent filed complaints at the Rhymeville police station. Late this afternoon, the Education Minister Priyamanik Chand, as well as the president of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mark Light, and the General Secretary, Coretta MacDonald, visited the teacher at the police station. Attorney Darren Wade secured the teacher's release. The teacher, while not wanting to go into detail about the incident, said she is concerned that attacking teachers is becoming a new pandemic. She says she was attacked and chose to defend herself.
What I want to say is that this thing has become the new COVID, right? And as an educator, I would like to see a better relationship between teachers, parents, and students, so we can work on what we've been paid to do, which is to educate the charges in our care.
But what happened at the school today? What triggered your reaction that we're seeing all over the internet?
I was advised by my lawyer not to speak on that. What is on the internet is already there, but
were you threatened? Were you attacked?
I was attacked.
By a teacher? By a student? By a parent?
Parent and a student of Houston Secondary School. I was attacked.
The GTU president, Mark Light, told News Source that the issue must be addressed head-on, and there is a need for legislation to be updated that will protect teachers in the classroom and in the school system.
Yeah, like Ms. Gentle said, it seemed to be the new COVID and the new way that parents and students try to resolve their challenges with their teachers and with the school system. And it is really bothersome and worrying on our part as a teacher representative body and teachers ourselves to really find out what is happening, because the aggression has got to stop. And we've got to find amicable ways to resolve our differences. Obviously, children go home, they tell their parents things, and the best way to do is to come to find out what is happening.
Mr. Light said gone are the days when parents would visit the schools and speak to the teachers to understand what was happening with their children. The Ministry of Education has repeatedly made it clear that it has a zero-tolerance policy against violence in the schools and violence against its teachers. More news coming up in a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
At Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Fina, how you could get yarn on today's pension day? I collect my pension and went to the market since the 23rd.
How you mean?
I tell you, Levy switched to lodgement. Since me last book finished, I switched.
You join up a lodge was this lodgement?
Oh, the NIS lodgement system allows pensioners to get their pension into their bank account. The money is paid into the account by the 23rd of the month, so you could withdraw it whenever you like.
So wait, I ain't got for join no long line. Why you ain't tell me before?
Told you, please. When you go to submit your life certificate, ask them for the allotment application form. When you complete it and the bank verify it, then NIS is going to process it. After they process it, your money will be in your account.
Well, all right, I join them now.
And don't forget, when you're carrying your life certificate, ask them for the lodgement application form.
For further information, please visit the website at www.nis.org.gy, the National Insurance Scheme Facebook page, or your nearest NIS office.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Strong and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to us.
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 226-0415-7. Comfortable parking available.
The governing People's Progressive Party Civic is turning its eyes on the strongholds of the opposition People's National Congress at the upcoming local government elections. PPP General Secretary Vice President Bara Jagdeo today announced that his party was stepping into full campaign mode for the local elections and has its eyes set on taking municipal control of the city of Georgetown and the towns of Linden and New Amsterdam. The elections are set to take place on the 12th of June. During a press conference at the party's Freedom House headquarters, Mr. Jagdeo said his party already has solid support going into the elections. And given that national support, it is hoping that the people at the local level will give the PP Civic an opportunity in those areas that were previously won by the opposition PNC.
We are hoping that in the city and other areas like New Amsterdam, areas that we've never controlled before, Linden, that people recognize that since independence, these areas have been controlled by APNU administrations, PNC administrations, with very little support for the people that they serve.
In making his case for widespread support across the country, the vice president said the central government has been forced to do a number of road and other works in the local municipalities controlled by the opposition.
Almost the whole city is taken over by the central government. If you look at the improvement programs now, it's all done by the central government. All the city council does here and in these other areas, they just collect taxes and spend on themselves, on wages and salaries. So we are hoping to work to change all of this. The same level of dynamism and accountability that we brought at the national level, we can do so at these municipalities, but we need to get an opportunity to.
But city officials and officials in other municipalities where the opposition has control have often complained of being starved of resources from the central government. In the case of Georgetown, the city mayor has repeatedly pointed out that the central government is among some of the big tax defaulters in the city, and that starves the municipality of needed resources. Still, Mr. Jagdeo believes it's time for a change in those areas.
And so we've been making our case to the citizens of the city and the other communities, these areas. Not to vote on the basis of history, but to vote on the basis of track record. That is what we have been arguing for.
The General Secretary of the PPP said the party's Central Command team will be meeting shortly to assess candidates across the country for the local elections. He explained also that the party has not yet settled on candidates for the various local government areas. However, he wants to see citizens come out in support of the PPP in their local government areas on Elections Day. Georgetown businessman Devanand Singh was today sentenced to 14 months in jail over the assault of his 25-year-old daughter. Singh was found guilty of causing actual bodily harm and using threatening language 2 weeks ago when the trial concluded before City Magistrate Rondell Weaver. After the sentence was handed down today, the businessman hung his head in shame as he was carted off to jail. He was charged back in March of last year after his daughter filed a complaint against him after she was badly beaten by him. The entire assault was caught on camera in the man's Kitty boutique. A video recording showed the man slapping then kicking his daughter repeatedly after she fell to the ground. He later complained that she had made disrespectful remarks towards him. The video recording caused a public uproar, and the businessman soon found himself before the court facing the serious charges. In the lead up to the trial, his daughter secured a permanent restraining order against him. In a number of social media interviews just after the incident, the businessman admitted to the crime, but also offered apologies to his daughter. 2 weeks after he was remanded to jail on a drug trafficking charge, businessman and owner of the Blue Iguana Club, Royston Peniston, will have to remain behind bars after an attempt to secure bail from the High Court failed. Peniston, through his attorneys, approached the High Court for bail on the drug trafficking charges, but the court was not convinced that he ought to be granted bail and upheld the lower court's decision to remand him to jail. The 44-year-old man was arrested at his Festival City home 2 weeks ago by agents of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit. After a search of the property uncovered more than 5 pounds of cocaine stashed in the false sides of 2 suitcases. Kanu believes the suitcases had been prepared for a possible cocaine shipment to the U.S. using someone else. Peniston entered a not guilty plea to the drug trafficking charges during his first court appearance. He was remanded to jail at the time. He will remain in jail until the 3rd of April when the case will continue before the magistrates.
Combo pack of we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, is the best mix, so we feeling best. Best value to how you feeling. Ole cheesy, too much ripples and more combo pack of flavors galore, yeah. Combo pack of we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, is the best mix, so we feeling best.
Sunshine Snacks Combo Pack, now with a new look and new mix. Grab your pack today.
Best mix, so we feeling best.
Get ready for the ultimate event as Mackenzie Alumni Association presents official Night of Elegance. Reunion and fundraiser. It's going down on Friday, 21st of April at the Edward Benjamin Conference Center, Linden, Guyana. Ticket donation $50. Dinner included. Come and enjoy the vibes from old school R&B and hip hop. It's the official Night of Elegance. Night of Elegance.
Sundress Soiree, Champagne and Cocktail Event, Saturday, April 8th at Everest Cricket Ground. Contribution $8,000. This is a day into night event. Doors open from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. Free. Cocktail hour, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Sundress Soiree. You know the vibes.
The opposition APNU today called for the draft petroleum sharing agreements for the deep water and shallow water blocks offshore Guyana to be placed before the National Assembly for a thorough review by a parliamentary select committee. The government recently released the draft contracts while starting 14 days of consultation on the contents of those contracts. Economic advisor to the leader of the opposition, Elson Lowe, today said there is clearly a need for more time for consultation, and he believes the documents should be laid in the National Assembly.
For the government to allow a measly 2 weeks for public comments is simply ridiculous and disdainful of the people of Guyana, the owners of the country's natural endowment. We hereby call for the PSA to be laid in the National Assembly and to be reviewed by a select committee, and for at least 2 months for public submissions and discussions.
The opposition is of the view that it is impossible to consult the White Cross section of the Guyanese people in just 2 weeks on the technical documents. Mr. Lowe said it would appear that the government has developed a pattern of rushing documents. He made reference to the Natural Resources Fund Act, which he said was rushed through the National Assembly despite objections from the opposition and civil society groups.
The new Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill must not be similarly rushed through parliamentary and public oversight. Instead of this contemptuous approach to the Guyanese public and the National Assembly, we believe that at least 60 days should be given for comments and objections when dealing with agreements, investment codes, and laws this vital.
The opposition said it intends to move a motion in the National Assembly demanding that consultations and matters of national importance be codified by law. Under the proposed PSAs, operators in the deep water and shallow water offshore oil blocks, upon being issued their license, would be required to submit their work programs and budgets to the minister responsible for the petroleum sector for approval. Additionally, in the model PSAs, the government has proposed that the royalty on all petroleum produced and sold by the contractor be increased from 2% as embedded in the Stabroek Block PSA to 10%. Attorney General Anil Nandlal is not too happy with sections of the recently released U.S. State Department report on human rights practices in Guyana. The Attorney General has expressed concern about parts of the report that focused on allegations of corruption in the Guyana Police Force and the force's failure to investigate cover-up claims by interdicted Police Sergeant Theon Bascom. Mr. Nandlal has described that section of the report as erroneous, and he has questioned where the U.S. Department got its information. He said it is unclear where the Department of State gathered its information in relation to the allegations made by Sergeant Theon Bascom. He said what is clear is that the information published in relation to Bascom is patently false. The Attorney General said the government of Guyana plans to engage the Department of State in respect of the inaccuracies highlighted in the report. The State Department in its 2022 report lifted the veil again on allegations of corruption in the Guyana Police Force. Issues of extrajudicial killings or unlawful killings were also highlighted in the report. The Attorney General does not believe the report is truly accurate. He said it is a matter of public record that the Office of Professional Responsibility of the Police Force conducted an investigation into the matter, and a report of the same matter involving Bascom was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice. He said the government of Guyana also requested assistance from the Caribbean Community's Regional Security System to investigate the allegations that were made by Bascom. Mr. Nandlal said that Sergeant Bascom's claims were already rubbished by the investigation by the RSS. He said that regional security body made clear that the bribery allegations made by Bascom against some members of the police force amounted to hearsay that could not be proven. The police detective has always maintained his claims about bribery and corruption in the Guyana Police Force. Turning now to women and agriculture, a number of Guyanese women were today exposed to opportunities in the agriculture sector as the Women and Gender Equality Commission hosted its first agriculture conference at the Regency Hotel. access to finance, market linkages and technology, risk management and opportunities for partnerships among agricultural organizations in Guyana and the region were among the topics discussed. The chairperson of the Women and Gender Equality Commission, Indra Chandapal, said while Guyana continues to experience unprecedented economic growth as a direct result of the oil and gas sector, agriculture remains the backbone of the country. She said over the years, women have increasingly engaged in small-scale farming, and they should do more to advance development of the agriculture sector.
And people will say, well, you have oil. We know that is a resource that will not last forever, but we have the land. And hence, we will have to exploit the land that we have so that we're able to bring our women on board. And that is why we are seeking to bring more women on board. I recall the president talking on International Women's Day, in which he said he would like to see 500 women operating in heavy industries or heavy machinery. Look, the whole question of gender equality is access to opportunities. And our laws, our constitutions have provided all these things. And if you look at in the area of education, how women have excelled, well, we also want women to get involved in all the areas that they're not involved in.
Ms. Chandapal was among the first to admit that women in the agriculture sector face a number of challenges, including access to finance. She said while women have traditionally engaged in small-scale farming, many of them lack the technical expertise to capitalize in the sector.
So it's the preparation of the land, it's the identification of the crops that you would like to grow, to see whether the type of soil and the type of crop you're growing, whether they are compatible, and how to deal with it throughout. For example, you start planting cassava. Everybody thinks they can plant cassava. But cassava, you have to prepare the land in a certain way. The type of, if you put heavy clay, then you will have a problem with the cassava finding how to get into the soil, because the clay will hold it very firmly. So that is something that we have to. So, and then also access to banks, access to loans, and those kinds of things.
The CARICOM Agriculture Unit's Deputy Program Manager, Malagro Matus, in her address, said at a time when the region is facing significant challenges in the area of food and nutrition security, women and youths are being better positioned to attend to those challenges, as CARICOM embarks on a journey to reduce the region's food import bill by 25% by the year 2025. The CARICOM region imports approximately $6 million worth of food annually. It was pointed out that with the exception of Belize and Guyana, all other CARICOM countries are net food importers. Many of the countries, she said, import more than 80% of the food they consume. CARICOM, she noted, is tackling the food and agricultural related issues head on, with Guyana playing a leading role as the chair of the Regional Ministerial Task Force. The CARICOM officials said through the work of the Ministerial Task Force and the Caribbean Network of Rural Women Producers, the capacities of women and youth are being enhanced to play an even greater role in the agriculture sector. She has urged the Guyanese women present to tap into the programs available under CARICOM. With upgrade works continuing at the Lusignan prison, the authorities at the jailhouse have started to relocate prisoners to sections of the newly constructed prison block. The full rehabilitation of the prison is expected to be completed within the next few months. When completed, it is expected to ease the overcrowding situation at many of the country's prisons. Most of the prisoners at the Lusignan facility were being housed in an open bay facility. The permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, May Thomas, was given a walkthrough of the facility, and it was explained to her that prisoners from the holding bay have already been moved to the completed parts of the prison. According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, upgrades to the facility will also accommodate a female prison, which will see the relocation of female inmates from the New Amsterdam jail. Additionally, work on the prison's vocational school is near completion. The permanent secretary also inspected construction works on the senior and junior officers' living quarters, which will accommodate 100 male and 50 female officers. The infirmary annex, overhead water storage tanks, and the water treatment plants are also nearing completion, while the construction of the outer perimeter fence is 95% complete. millions of dollars have been poured into the prison rehabilitation program.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, Taiwan says it sees China's involvement in Honduras' decision to seek to end relations with that island as very obvious. And the situation does not look good, with Honduras demanding a high price, the island's foreign minister said yesterday. Honduras denied on Wednesday that it had demanded $2.5 billion in aid from Taiwan before its announcement to seek to open relations with China, instead saying the country had repeatedly requested Taiwan to buy Honduran public debt. Speaking to reporters at Parliament, Taiwan Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said the situation with Honduras was not very good. He said the other side demanded a high price. China, which views Taiwan as its own territory with no right to say ties, has involved itself in the issue, without giving details, the Taiwanese official said. The police in the Turks and Caicos Islands made its 9th interception for the year in relation to illegal migrants when Marine Branch officers stopped a Haitian migrant vessel with over 100 people on Tuesday. The vessel, which was heading towards West Caicos, was intercepted around 1:08 in the afternoon. The migrant vessel was found carrying a total of 184 illegal migrants, 30 females and 154 males. The illegal migrants were handed over to the Immigration Task Force. The acting commissioner of police in the Turks and Caicos, Rodney Adams, said he would like to congratulate the Marine Branch for another successful operation. He said they remain grateful for the collaborations between the regional and international partners. The Turks and Caicos has been dealing with an influx of illegal migrants since last year. And finally tonight, international news. Oh, Canada. Canada's population grew by over 1 million people for the first time ever last year, the government has said. The BBC reports the country's population increased from just over 38.5 million to 39.5 million people. It also marked Canada's highest annual population growth rate, 2.7%, since 1957. The increase was in part fueled by government efforts to recruit migrants to the country to ease labor shortages, Statistics Canada has said. The country also depends on migration to support an aging population. But Statistics Canada said the surge in the number of permanent and temporary immigrants could also represent additional challenges for some regions of the country related to housing, infrastructure, and transportation, as well as service delivery to the population. International migration accounted for nearly 96% of the population growth in Canada. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to have a safe and enjoyable night.